going to begin an advanced video here that creates a crossover ring using UV curves to place the latticework design up onto the top of the ring and then to add the gems to that design. So let's begin by placing a copy of the ring in the viewport so we can see what the image looks like using the View menu command, Picture Frame. Okay, once you've found that image, hit open, and the next thing will be to click Shift and drag the bottom edge of that photo along. Okay, and then you'll be able to center this and scale it to the size of the actual ring so you get some idea of the size this should be. So let's begin with the finger size, the finger rail, and then we can center this on the finger rail about 2 millimeters past the edges of it. That's actually not so bad. Okay, or if you prefer, you can just click and drag this off. The picture frame is a great tool to use because you can just pick up the surface and drag it around. The only thing is I like to put it on a layer color I don't use a lot, such as lights, and then lock that layer. And that way I can't accidentally select it. Okay. To begin creating this, let's draw the taper for this ring in the side view. To start, I'm going to just place the curve tool line with the both sides option here right at the inside of that finger rail. And as I hold down Shift, I'm going to drag this out to the width that I want at the bottom of the ring. I want it a little wider actually, so right click, both sides, click and drag that out. Okay. The next thing is going to be to create this taper with the line tool. Just click into the end right here and extend it pretty far up past the top of this to the width you want for the ring. F4, Shift. Okay. I just mirrored that to the other side using F4. Okay. The next thing will be to place the outside finger rail here. With the outside rail tool, just hit start and you'll get all the handles for that. We're actually going to just create the side of the ring using this. So we're going to draw this up to 150, this down to 1.3, and this the bottom up to 1 millimeter. Holding down Shift, you can get those right on. Okay, press Enter to keep that. And using Curve from Two Views, we're going to be able to place the outside and inside finger rail on an angle with these two curves. Before we do that, as you know, these curves have to extend down past the end of this rail, which they don't yet. So we're going to run the extend command. That lives right here in the curve menu. Just press Enter for dynamic extend. We're going to extend this guy and this guy. Okay, and what happened there is Rhino history is turned on, so when you extend one curve that has been mirrored, its mirrored copy also does the extend. So we can turn that off. It sometimes messes with matrix history. Okay, and let's drop back this. Alright, Curve from Two Views is going to give us two curves that match the angle of the green lines there. So let's run Curve from Two Views with history with the inside finger rail and one line. Repeat the inside finger rail and the other line. Repeat the Curve from Two Views with the outside rail and the line. And one more time with the outside rail and the line. And there you go. Okay, we're going to look at creating the profiles for this. Now, I like to hang on to the original curves, so select these, run the duplicate in place option, and with one copy still selected, place those in another layer color and turn them off. That way you've got a copy saved. We're going to take the originals here and split them with the two sets of curves that touch them. Okay, we can get rid of everything we don't need. Delete that, and what we're left with are curves that touch precisely. We're going to be just surface modeling this little ring. It's a pretty simple ring, but we want to make sure everything lines up. We're going to show you how to do that. Okay, so right now these profiles touch these rails perfectly. Okay, with the line tool again, we're going to draw a profile that extends between these two and touches them end to end. So we've got a matching at the top and the bottom. And we'll go ahead and job bag this. And now with our arc direction tool, we're going to create the bend in this ring. So grab the arc direction and touching the end and the end, we're just going to draw this as high as we want for the profile on the ring. So about 2 millimeters there. Same thing at the top. Between the end, we should have an end in there. Between the end and the end. And just draw that up as high as you want. And in this way we can create a different curvature at the bottom as at the top. We want this to really poof up more at the top. In fact, we could even do that a little bit more and really get that thing tall and puffy at the top. Okay, job bag this. Okay, and notice that we didn't join these profiles together. We're all ready to sweep them in 4 separate sweep 2 operations. This is exactly what multi-rail sweep does, only we're going to control it so that we get 4 separate surfaces in the end. So sweep 2 between the 2 rails and the profiles that touch them. Okay. Oops. Oh, we can mirror the whole thing afterwards anyway. Sweep 2 between the 2 rails and the profiles. Oops. Sweep 2 between the 2 rails and the profiles that touch them. We can mirror this guy. F4, shift. Sweep 2 one last time between the 2, the 2 rails. Sweep 2 between the 2 rails and the profiles that touch them. Okay, you can see the really nice shape of that. And we can take all these surfaces, join them up, and mirror them to the other side of the ring. F4, shift, and join everything together. And it should create for you a closed solid poly surface if you join the inside. I forgot to mirror and join the inside. Join your closed solid poly surface. Okay, get used to that. We're going to be checking for that a lot during this tutorial. It's a pretty tricky one. Okay, remember how I said I like to keep those curves around? Let's bring them back right now. They're right here. And we'll offset them to create a shape for the inset surface that all this stuff is going to go onto. Okay, so let's offset these one at a time here. If you're not sure exactly how far you want them, just use the 3-point option. And when it looks good, click. Okay, you can either mirror this or just offset the other one. We'll mirror it. And we'll put them on another layer color so you can see them really well. Cutting layer. Okay, and also determine how far down the ring you want that little surface to end. And with the line tool, and making sure project is turned on, because we're going to draw this straight, flat in the viewport. Just draw about the shape for that. Notice how it comes to a V here on the side. Trust me, it comes to a V on the side. And go ahead and mirror this one, F4, shift. Now we can take all the orange colors, hit trim, and just get rid of the parts we don't need from this shape. And we're going to leave it extending past the top of the ring. Press enter and join everything up. Okay, now let's project this onto the ring. Here's the project command. Make sure you're doing this in the side view where it already looks like it's on the surface visually. Select the curves to project, press enter. Select the poly surface to project onto, and that's our ring. And in fact, let's just hold up there. Before we do that, let's go ahead and extract the surface of the ring. That way it only projects onto what we want it to. So we'll use extract surface and extract surfaces. Enter, join, and we'll only project it onto this one outside surface. Okay, so in the side view, we're going to run project, grab our orange curve, press enter. The surface to project it onto is this green. Press enter, and there we go. You can see that it projects around the entire surface. Okay. We're now going to split the green surface with the orange curve. One surface has been split into two pieces, and there's one piece and there's the other. So let's take that first piece, put it on a new layer color here so we can get a good look at it. Now we're going to scale this down in order to create the inset surface. So let's select just this surface here, run the transform command, scale 2D, and then looking down from F4, we're just going to click shift and scale this down a little ways. Notice that it's scaling it smaller on the top and the sides, which is good, but at the very top of the ring is still all the way up where the very top of the surface is still all the way up at the top of the ring. So we use 1D scale from the endo snap up and just scale that down, making sure you're holding down shift so it doesn't make things go out of whack here. Then just depending on how you want this to look, you can finagle it a little more. We're just creating an inset that all this stuff is going to be put onto. So all this stuff is going to be just about planar with the top of that ring. So you're not going to see this really weird shape on the side. Of course, you don't see it here. We're just making a surface to flow this whole design and to lay this gems out on. So you don't have to really worry about that so much. So let's leave it all uniform there. Let's job bag this. And to create this as a solid model so that we don't get all lazy here, we're just going to close it up with the loft tool. So with yet another layer color, go to the loft command and just work your way around the edges that line up. Okay, and we'll go around this whole ring, lofting between these edges. Oops, not that edge, this edge. Okay, and I'm just going to pause the video while I do this because it's boring. Oh, that was so boring. I almost put myself to sleep. Okay, so just notice that all the edges are lofted. They're little surfaces. Just don't get lazy and mirror these. Just make sure you build them all because you want this model to be solid in the end. So let's grab all these, and all these. Does anyone else have trouble telling between those two shades of green? And join. Okay, we're definitely missing a green. Join. And check it out, and it's closed. That's good to know. And we'll job bag this. Okay. However, this is not the surface that we're going to flow this design up onto because we need an untrimmed surface for those little UV curve commands, and this one has been trimmed. It's been split, moved around, scaled. The split did the trimming, and it's just got no recollection of its original, of how it's got no relationship to how it was originally created. So we need to create it anew, kind of here. Okay, so we're going to do that. How are we going to do that again? We're going to do that by extracting the surface first. something we haven't used yet here. Extract our surface. And remember, we have 4, so even worse. It would not like, UV curves would not like that. Okay, extract them. Enter. We're going to run the dupe in place trick again. In place. We're going to take one copy and stick it on this color. And the other copy doesn't, oh yeah, let's take them and join them. And the other ones we're going to join up and create our poly surface again. Okay, so we've got our ring kind of untouched there, and we've also got the surface that we're going to use to build the new surface. So let's turn off the ring. Oh, we've got a bunch of curves all hanging around out there. I like this super select tool. We can grab all the curves now that we're done with them, put them in a job bag, and dump them. We're not going to need them back. Okay. We could also put this guy in a job bag all by himself just in case anything happens and we crash. And I think we've job bagged the whole thing. Am I paranoid? Little bit. Okay. Turn this off. Okay, so here he is, and he's a poly surface, and he's been trimmed, and he's got all kinds of things going for him that don't work with our UV curve demands here. So we're going to select this. We're going to run the duplicate border tool, and we're going to get rid of, oh, we don't get rid of it yet. Okay, in a second we're going to get rid of the old one. Okay, before we get rid of it, we're going to run, we're actually going to explode it and join one half and join the other half. And what I'm looking to do is get a curve right here. Okay, so let's dupe edge right along this edge. Enter, join. If you hadn't noticed, extract iso curve doesn't really like to do that. Okay, but we do want to use extract iso curve on the side of the surface right here and snap it to the end. And do the same thing over here. And yet again right here. Oh, well, toggle please. Right to the end. And finally on the other side right here. Okay. Here are all the little building blocks that are going to make us our new surface. So let's take this guy and explode him. And we'll join up the two sides. And the same thing over here. And we'll join these profiles so we have a single profile from it. Oopsie. Actually, we technically only need to do this on one half of the ring. That's okay. And we'll go ahead and sweep this. Sweep 2 with our 2 rails and our 3 profiles. Okay, there's a very pretty surface. There he is. He's looking good. Now you'll notice that these things hang out here, and we want to know where they are so that we know where the ring catches up with the design we're going to place onto the inset part of the surface. Okay, so that's what these 2 curves tell us. But notice that this does not extend down past them, but we want it to. Okay, so we're going to run the extend surface command. I finally found a use for this. Extend surface. Here's the edge to extend. Okay, and notice that we have our poly surface again. This is a good mistake for you guys to see, because look, it exploded into all these different surfaces, and that's not what I wanted. Okay. So we're going to rebuild all the curves. And since this is only going to be a cripple surface, it's not a surface we're going to keep. It just needs to closely reflect this ring. Remember, we have him right here. We're going to lay all this stuff up on the ring. As long as it intersects, it'll Boolean to the ring. As long as it intersects and it's valid and closed. So we're assuming you need these closed, solid, good poly surfaces. Okay. Now, What was I saying? Oh yes, rebuild. Rebuild. Okay, let's do this one more time. Sweep 2. Profile, profile, profile. Now let's see if this guy will explode. Nope. Ah, so nice. Okay, as I was saying, we're going to go ahead and extend this down past our little V curves here because we need to get a representation of these onto the UV curve. So the surface has to be longer than that. And remember, it's not going to mesh perfectly with this, but that's okay. We just need something that's going to lay up on there and that we can get it to intersect the original model so we can Boolean it and all will be right with the world. All right, so we're going to extend the surface. There he is. And the extension factor, don't ask me if this is in millimeters. I really don't know. I just extend things. The extension factor that works is the one I use. So there's our edge to extend. We'll use 3. Okay, as long as it goes down past those curves, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Extend, 3, enter. And we need to get these curves onto that surface. And we only know about 1 billion ways to do that, but I'm going to use pullback because they aren't necessarily on one side of the surface. It would just be a mess. Pullback can do it from either side here. So curve, pull back to the surface. Enter. And there it is. You've got one on the surface. Run it again. Pull back. U. Enter. To U. Okay, now you've got a surface to unroll. You've got curves on that surface. You've got everything else correct. We're going to do a create UV curves with the surface. And the curves on the surface are these 4. Not you. Enter. Phew, there he is. He's beautiful. He's gorgeous. Look at you. Look what you did. Well, I guess I did it, but I'm sure yours looks even better. Okay, you have a representation of the surface together with the area on the original ring that the surface is going to creep in. So you've just created pretty tough UV curve surface. Not an easy task. Speaking of not an easy task, let's figure out how the x's all lay out to make the lattice work. This only took me about 27 tries. Probably literally 27 tries. Okay, starting from the notch in the V here, we're going to run the line tool. Is this a straight line? Yeah. Ooh, okay, starting from the notch in the V, we're going to run line to both sides. Okay, and with the intersection, oh snap, he's going to stop when he reaches the UV curve box. And we're going to mirror this around the middle, somewhere here of our box. Hopefully that's all good and mirrored. If it's not, we'll be paying for it later. Make it 28 times. Okay. I'm going to explode. Ooh, before I do that, very, very bad. Take just the UV curves box here, just this thing. Run the duplicate with the in place option. Okay, you've got a copy on top of a copy right now. Put it on another layer color and turn it off. We're gonna have to get those back later. Better yet, job bag it all by itself so you can get back to it when you need it. Okay, good. Now, turn it off. Okay, now we're going to explode this box. We're going to split the top and bottom. Split them with the 2 curves on either side. Okay, and these are the only curves we're going to use to worry about the x's. We don't need this extra stuff here. Okay, don't ask me how it works, it just works. We're going to run the divide curve command on these. Divide curve 12 times. Same thing on the bottom. Okay, we need to know the midpoint of this. Draw yourself a line to help you out with that. Okay, I think it's time for a new layer color. I'm going to grab a new layer color. And using the line tool, we're going to make an X. I usually mess this up, so don't laugh. We're going to mirror the X around the midpoint. And we're going to drag this off center, because notice at the very center, oh, you can't see that, it's off your screen. There he is. The very center of your ring is not the crossover of the X, it's the diamond shape where the two X's intersect. So we're going to just click and drag this off center using our point O snap to drag it one click away. Delete the other one. Okay, now this we're going to mirror and see if we did it right. Ooh, 27 tries actually gets you something. And just copy this. And copy it again. Till you got something that looks like this. I really stink at that, so if it takes you 27 tries, you don't have to feel bad. All right, let's jump back this since I don't want to have to do that again. And the next order of business is to offset these and create the thickness between each of the X's here. So we can run offset. And just offset this a distance that you think is going to be good for your design. We're going to run both sides. Okay, this is about 0.8. Just depends on if you want those fatter, thinner, or whatever. Okay, when you do this, offset both sides. This is going to take me forever, and again, will be boring, so let me pause you. Welcome back. I'm all done. Okay, notice that these do not intersect their ends on all of these. They sort of stick out wildly, and that would be bad if we tried to trim everything together. Yes, it would. Okay, trying to think if that's true or if I'm lying. That's true. All right, so let's go ahead and extend everything to touch the outside of the box. To do this, we select the extend command. Our boundary is this, this, and this, this, and this. Enter, and the curves to extend are all these little guys that don't reach. Don't reach, don't reach, don't reach. I'll let you watch this. It's so interesting to watch me click. I heard rumors of popcorn. I'm a little bit upset that nobody shares this popcorn with me. All right, there we go. And press enter when you're done. That command likes to hold on and come back and haunt you. So again, we will jump back. Okay. So everything's extended to intersect to the ends of this design. So the first thing we're going to do is to extrude this design. So we have to trim everything out so we can do that. Obviously, we don't need these original offset curves, so I'm going to just grab them all. I was thinking I probably would have stuck them on a new layer color. Grab them all. And ooh, I feel so bad deleting them. Put them on gray and turn them off. Can't help myself. Okay. The other thing is to get all those point objects. Do the same thing. And the final thing will be just wipe it all. Oh, I know. Wait, I know. We need the curves as they are right now, just as they look. Okay, so we're going to right click them all, delete in place, as you know, my favorite trick. Put them on a new layer color we haven't used yet and turn that off. Okay, that leaves us a copy of blue and a copy on red. Okay, we're going to need those blue ones back, so remember those are there. In fact, better yet, what? I hear it. Job bag them. Okay, turn them off. Let's grab everything and trim away. Again, this is going to be exceedingly boring, but I'll let you watch it for a little while. Just make sure, right click, that after you do a couple of these, if you mess up, right click, you won't have to undo them all if you simply right click. Just ends the trim command and then starts it back up again. Wonderful trick from my friend Christopher Stokes. Great guy. Right click, right click. Oops, it's the little things when you're using this program. I found a new way to trim. I was happy beyond reason. That should tell you something. Trim, trim, trim. Same thing over here and get rid of everything that's not that little ziggy, zaggy shape, since that's where our guy is going to end. Right click, right click. Oops, another guy we don't need. We could stick him on gray and turn him off too. Okay, grab it all again, trim. This is the part I'm bad at. Find the negative space and trim it out. Oh, I get batty just looking at these. Negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. Okay, I'm gonna put this on pause for you. And welcome back. Don't you wish it went that quick in real life? Okay, hopefully there's no extra stuff. Here's a good thing to do. Grab your super select and look for duplicate objects. If it's not up there, you don't have any. Okay, so let's grab them all and join them. 15 closed curves. We'll trust that. Something else that's good to do. If you're not sure you got it right, click on all the big major curves that you know are good and correct. Move them out of the way. Now, go back and grab one curve, add to selection. Do you even see it? That might be it. Oh, that's a mean curve. Oh, he hates us. Delete him. Okay, that is often happens. It can screw up your mill. It can screw up your model because when we grab that thing and it tries to extrude it, oh, it just makes an ugly, big old fat mess. So that one you can get free of charge. All right, let's go ahead and extrude this and make our little solid. I hope. We'll knock on wood. Straight. We're going to extrude it straight down, so when those other curves come back, they come back over the top of it. So let's take a look. Straight down. Boom. Nice. If you really care to, you can grab this and go closed, valid, 110 surfaces. That's good to know. And job bag it, of course, naturally. Now we don't need the cap of this. We're going to make our own cap with an over-under design, a very swanky little thing. So extract surface from the top, delete it, and you've got just the sides and the bottom left. And that's fine. And we're going to bring back all those curves, which no longer touch. Oh, that's not very good. Move that. But we found our little demon curve, didn't we? Let's find the places where they line up. I suppose there are any. We can do this. We can do this. Okay. There's our UV curves box. See, aren't you glad you put stuff on gray and turn it off? Where's the corner of that box? We need those green curves back. Those we did not duplicate. Those are lost and gone forever. There should be a midpoint around here somewhere. Oh yeah, we missed some stuff. Right click to grab all the red. Don't do this, it's not part of the tutorial. It's part of me being clumsy. This is a good lesson in why not to be clumsy. Okay, I think it's all lined up again. If it's not, we'll know. We'll hear about it soon. Okay. Let's just we'll trust the O-snaps. The O-snaps are our friends. Okay, and turn off gray. And our next order of business is, believe it or not, we're going to make some profiles to sweep along these rails. Okay, so let's make them. I like to make them in the through finger viewport. We can turn on our grid snaps. We can grab the rectangle tool with the rounded option. And all the grid snaps are still on, but if you want to see them, okay. And just make ourselves a little guy. Something like that, so we can get some gems on there. Okay, I'm gonna use the cutting layer and split this with this. Delete what I don't need. Duplicate this in place. You knew I would do that. Stick our second copy on another layer. And take Mr. Number 2 here and grab some of his control points. Straight up they go with Shift. Okay, escape. Now we have Mr. Under and Mr. Over, and they're going to come and help us finish off our lovely over-under lattice pattern here. Okay, let's start with Mr. Under. Oh, let's figure out where he goes first. The one I like best is this one. That's the one that jumps out at me when I see this design. So there's the center of our box. So we're looking at this guy right here. We have over and under. So going this way is the under. So turn off that box again. Okay, orient 2 points is what gets those profiles up there. So turn off our grid snaps. That'll help a lot. End and end are our reference points. Do you remember where he was? Right there. Okay, and he's Mr. Under right here. With the near O snap on, we're going to go right at the middle of the crisscross and just, you can eyeball this, it's going to come out. Enter. So there he is, Mr. Under. Let's do Mr. Over. Orient 2 points to the end and the near going in the opposite direction. Again, these can just be, you don't have to get right on the near and the perp. They just need to look perpendicular. Now, we're not going to do this 80 million times because that's boring. We're going to copy at the intersection of each of these ends, and if it helps you, turn off the red and just use the intersection O snap, because then you don't have like 50 things to snap to. And these are the same all the way along. So just copy them to the next intersection O snap. There you go. Okay, we'll do the same thing at the next X with Mr. Over and Mr. Under. The next one up here, and you can tell over goes to under. So orient 2 points, end to end, and end to end. Enter. Same thing at this guy, end to end, and end to end. Enter. Now, these are all the same too, so we copy here, 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 here. And you know what? Copy. They're the same down here too. Thank goodness. Aren't you glad we have the Celtic knot builder? Okay, you'd have to do this for a lot more complicated designs if we didn't. Oh, right. The ends we're going to let sort themselves out. Yes, the ends we don't worry about, okay? But we are going to bring back the surface, the poly surface. And as we sweep these, it's going to come from a straight line up, up, and back down to a straight line. So the edge, edge of the poly surface right here, how it lets you grab the poly surface edge, that's going to be one of our profiles. To make the profile on the other end, we're going to split these two curves with one another and make this a profile. So we have to go through and do that each time. This is also incredibly boring, but I'll show you a couple of them before I pause the video. Split split this guy with this guy and split his neighbor with the first one. Enter. And you get two little, if you feel so inclined, you can put them on a profile color. It's always fun. Same thing down here. Split with you. Enter. And you split with you. Okay, again, two little lines, put them on a profile color. And I'll just show you how to sweep a couple of these and then I'll pause because it's really boring. Okay, grab a nice layer color, sweep two. Here are your rails. Profile is the edge. The profile, and the one you just split to make a profile. Loop. To better see that, we'll run it again. Sweep two. With our two rails, our profile, edge, the profiles that run perpendicular to those two rails, and the last little guy we split away there. Okay. And you just do that ad nauseum. I mean, 27 more times. Pause. And we're back. That was a little time consuming. So here's our swept surfaces. The only thing that's missing, and we'll show you how to complete them both, are the little triangles at the ends here, and at last the this interesting shape. We'll tackle this one first. We'll just go ahead and draw a line with the endo snap-on from the end to the end. We'll then just sweep it like a regular sweep two, the way we've been doing all along. Okay. And I'll complete that on each of the four ends. You want to see another one? I'll just do one more. End to end. That becomes a profile. We have sweep two along the two edges between the profile and the new profile. Okay. Helps if you put that on the layer color you want active. I'll finish these and I'll be right back. All right, we've got all those taken care of. The last order of business is to cap each of these ends, and we can use from planar curves with all three little guys, and just form a bunch of caps using any of the edge curves from these surfaces. If you use the edge curves, or the curves they came from, whichever one works. And if edge from planar curves doesn't work, try your edge curves. Use the curves and the edge of the surface. Okay, and that's fine. Edge curves is great. Curve, curve, and edge. Okay, and again, same as before. We'll just complete these instantly. The way to complete these ends again. Okay, just make sure you grab the correct edge. Looks like we grabbed something wrong in there. And just kill off these little guys. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, with all those done, at this point right now you have to resist the urge to join all this up. Okay, our next order of business is to split the surfaces with one another so that we get rid of all the intervening sections. See this part where it intersects? That part is no good to us. So let's turn off the red. We're going to turn off, oh, you know, we should probably job bag this right now. Let's do that. Okay. So we're going to turn off the red, turn off our blue curves. We don't need any of these curves. We can actually select them all and hide them if we want. Okay. Now you can see how everything intersects. So we have kind of a method to doing this. And in fact, if you want to grab these dudes too and hide them, put them on with the red color, whatever may be. Anything that already doesn't intersect, we're not going to need for this little excursion here. Sorry about that. Restarted the hide command somehow. Love it when that happens. Put them on red and turn them off. Okay. And this method uses our layers. So we're going to select um, all of one object and put it onto a new layer color that isn't out there yet. Okay. We're going to select the layer color and we're going to split it with the surfaces that intersect it. Enter. Okay. Now we have to take the surfaces that intersect and split it with everything on the new layer. Split, enter. Okay. Now we're going to take everything we know is good, 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 put it on another separate layer and turn that one off. And all the stuff that's left behind is the intersecting pieces. And when we turn back on that layer, there should be none of that junk left between them. And it's always good to check so you can come in and delete that stuff when it is there. But there'd be little intervening parts right in here, okay, if we didn't do this right. Okay, and instead we have openings showing that we did do it correctly. Okay, so there's one little section where we're good. We can join it up. And we'll put it back onto back onto our original color. And do this all over again. If you want, you can put that onto a separate color. So you're like, here's the good stuff. Okay, so do that all over again. Pick one of these to split. Put it on a new color. Take the one you're going to split, select it, and split it with the stuff that intersects it. Enter. Okay, now take all the stuff you just selected that intersects it and split it with, right click on everything on that layer. And the reason we do that is we need to grab all those little intervening pieces and use them as cutters. Enter. Okay. Now we'll take all the stuff we know we're going to keep. Try to click pretty far away from where those little intervening pieces may be. Put it all onto a separate layer color, turn it off. And all the leftovers, junk. Okay. One more time I'll show you, and then I'll do the rest of this by myself because it's really boring and lame. Actually, we should only have to do one half of this and mirror it, but we're not going to actually do that because we want to make sure everything still lines up with our original curves. We don't want to get things out of alignment or we get open holy models. Not holy in a good way. Put it on a new layer color and split it with all the stuff that crosses. Enter. Okay, again, take all the stuff that crosses and split it with the new layer. Enter. Okay, shade. Everything we know is good. Good, 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 good. Goes on to another layer and turn it off. And here's our junk. Colorful junk. Okay, I'm going to check out for a minute while I finish this, and we'll be right back. And here is our colorful over-under lattice work. Now, what I like to do is come through and check that every little opening doesn't have extra stuff sticking out in it. So all these little highways and byways should be perfectly garbage free. And they touch end on end. And they were all used to split one another in our very careful little process back there. So they should all be good to go. Famous last words. Okay, so we can go ahead and select the whole colorful mess, join it. Okay, and likewise, we bring back the red surface, and we can take the red and the blue and join them together. And we check, and we have joined them into one closed poly surface, which if I've tried this 27 times has happened one time. But luckily it was here in front of you. So I'm gonna go play the casino boats tonight. All right. um, and we're ready to job bag this, especially a good thing to do. And we're ready to flow this up onto the surface. So what we need in order to flow this is we need those UV curves back from a million years ago. So we need everything back. We're going to hit show. Okay, and there's our ring. So everything's ready to go. And I'm going to job bag it at this stage here. Okay, we need to make the surface that is represented by this guy. Remember we extended him and we put the green curves down as UV curves. So we need these curves back. We need them right here to make a surface to represent this surface. So we're going to explode this 4 segments, and we're going to use this to sweep. And we're going to sweep the long sides as rails and the shortest profiles. So we have a sweep 2 between our rails and our profiles. Okay. And you kind of want this to be underneath your design to start with, so let's grab the orange and slide it down. And we can adjust with history if we need to change its location. Okay. So here's our object to flow. Transform menu command flow along surface. Our object to flow is the blue. Enter. Our base surface is the orange. And our target surface is the green. Select them at the same corner. Okay, this is going to happen in a big hurry, or maybe not such a big hurry, but because we didn't turn on history, it goes a little bit faster. But we actually need to turn on history so that we can edit it after this. So undo, turn on history, and run flow again. Flow along surface with our base and our target. And now they're in this history relationship, so we're going to be able to make changes to the base objects and see them reflected in the target objects. Okay, so let's take a look at the ring as a whole and see where we want this to be. Looks like it's up a little high, so we can start by sinking it down, and the relationship it has to this surface is the relationship it's going to have to our target surface. So let's go ahead and just slide it down and see what that gives us on our design. You have to wait for a minute, see how it's kind of stuck there. Okay, maybe it wants to be a little higher. But right now the look is up to you. The rest of this process and getting this design to look great is up to your preferences for that design. Okay, and because it does sink into the surface, did I move it up a little? Oh yeah, tiny bit. Okay, because it does sink into the surface, we should now be able to join this to this, and we can just toss away our cripple surface in there, this color here, one of these colors. Okay, so we can just toss out, let's make sure we did it right. Okay, there's that cripple surface. We can just get rid of him. And because this surface is sunken down into this one, if we're all done and we're ready to produce this model, obviously I didn't do the gems, the cutters, but all that stuff you know how to do. This was the hard stuff. So we can actually Boolean union these surfaces together. So if you need a closed solid model out of this, you've got it. And the last thing I'm going to show you here is a little trick with the gem on surface tool to finish up placing gems onto this ring. So we're going to actually turn this off. I've job bagged it like 60 times, so don't worry. And just get back your original surface. Oh, and we need that guy too, okay? So before you Boolean it, go ahead and bring out just the lattice work, and the original surface is going to be easier to do on a single surface instead of a poly surface. Is the only reason. There's so many things for it to snap to anyway, and I find it just easier. So, okay, we're going to open up the gem loader. We're going to go to the size that you think you might want for this design. Got a 2.8 here. And you're just going to go ahead and rotate this. Actually, you can do this from right within GemLoader. That'll be more impressive. The on surface option takes you right to gem on surface, and it's going to pick up that gem as the gem to orient to the surface and leave one at F4 for you. Surface to orient to is this green surface, okay? And notice you're looking at the one at F4 right now, but as you move your mouse, you're moving around the one that's on the surface, and it's snapping to every living thing, so turn off your O snaps, okay? Now, I already had it set up to the angle, but just type in 45 and press enter. Also make sure your scale's at 100% for the first one here, and just click to place it. Now you don't have to worry about the spacing because we're just going to do this by eye. Okay, and this space, this hole for it's a bit smaller because of the nature of the design, which is that they taper as they go to the sides. So we're going to scale this down to 90% and see how that fits. 90% of the original size of the stone, maybe 95, so that we don't have any unsightly holes. But you would just do this based on how you're going to set them, etc. Okay, and because it's adhering to the surface, it's going to fill that spot really, really nicely. And we don't have to worry about how to get these up into this design. Okay, we can size this one down a little bit, 80% for right here, 85. Okay, and only do 1/2 and of course the middle because we can mirror everything. Forget if this one had a gem or not. There's 13 gems total, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it doesn't. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 6. Okay, nope, it doesn't. So press enter when you're done. And now we're just going to mirror all this stuff over to the other side. So let's grab them if we can. Turn off some of the extra stuff. Mirror around F4, shift and click, and grab all this and mirror around F4, shift and left click. And you can turn it all back on and see your masterpiece. Okay? Obviously, you don't need that surface back, and you can Boolean union just the same way we showed you how. And now you can make cutters for these and everything. It'll work fine. The other thing you can make cutters for, or however you're going to work on setting them, are the little stones. And, uh-oh, excuse me, that didn't come through. I just sneezed. I usually try to mute those. Sorry. Go ahead and extract an isocurve right at the middle of these surfaces. We're only going to do one because this will take us all day again. So right at the middle of the surface and join them together. Guess if you really wanted to, you could fake it and go all the way down with the, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we will finish this. You guys will be so sick of my voice. And at the end here. Okay. And we'll join. And we'll blend, just because this is easier than doing it a bunch of different times. And we'll take all the red and join. And we'll place this into our gem on a curve tool. It might freak out. It might freak out a little bit. We'll see what this does. And these are obviously much too large, and they're also pointing right now at F4. So we want to choose object, and I think the ones over here might flip out a little, literally flip out. So again, we'll go back to our trusty old original surface and tell them to point down at him. Ah, that's nice to have there. Okay, scale these down, little bitty gems, and lower the spacing so you can get a few in there. Okay, so once you got a little gem layout that you like, press enter. And we'll grab these and go into the prong placer tool. Stick them in the box. And if they come out crazy like mine, I'm not really sure what happened, but if that ever happens, jump into your styles and go, how about that? And apply it. And that'll just give you something to start from that isn't insanity. I've really seen it do that since development, so I'm not sure. It's probably me. Probably something I ingeniously thought would be a wise decision that wasn't. Okay, so large prong height and just lower this down. Make it something cute and tiny. All right, and we're going to get rid of those in the middle anyway, so press enter to add them. Wait just a moment while they appear. And then we'll go in, take a look at the ones that are under here. So just ungroup, utilities, ungroup, and get rid of delete, 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 delete. And if there's any gems in there, which I don't know how that happened. I must have already deleted them. And obviously you will repeat that process for 1/2 of the ring. Then, coincidentally, you can take all these and all these. I'm going to turn off history just in case it decides to wig out. Rotate and copy. F4, shift, shift. So once you do 1/2 the ring, please don't do the other half. Just rotate and copy and you'll get the whole thing with gems, prongs. I showed you how to set these little guys. Let's bring back our ring. Let's job bag all this. And you know that those will Boolean union from earlier on in the tutorial. So basically that's it. I'm not going to do the busy work of finishing up the gems, but it shows you how. And now you've got the design from the beginning. If you have any questions, feel free to email me as always.